Today I'm going to show you how to crochet the most adorable gift box ornaments.
We're Santa's little helpers, we make the wheels go round. Day and night and day, here in Christmas Town. We're Santa's little helpers.
So for the yarn, you will need two different colors. I'm using here a DK yarn in the colors red and green. And then I'm going to be using cardboard, a 4mm crochet hook, tapestry needle, scissors, and lastly, hot glue. Feel free to leave a longer tail at the beginning before you do the slip knot, so you can use this little tail to do some of the sewings later. So I'm going to start by making a slip knot, and then I'm going to be chaining 9. So here's my chain of 9. Now I'm going to be skipping that very first chain and then work 1/2 double crochet into the next 8 chains. So the chain 1 that we have skipped at the beginning is not going to count as a stitch. So here's row 1. Now to go up, you are simply going to chain 1, turn your work, and 1/2 double crochet all the way down into every stitch. We are not counting the chain 1 as a stitch. And if you want, you can use the back loop only to have a ribbed effect. So it's going to be completely up to you. I'm going to be using the entire stitch. So I'm going to go into that very first one because the chain 1 is not counting as a stitch. And now I'm going to 1/2 double crochet all the way down into every single stitch. So I'm going to be having 8 1/2 double crochets down. Make sure to get that very last one. So now go ahead and repeat row 2 until you have 5 rows in total. So here I have the 5 rows, and you want to make sure that these 5 rows, they look like a square. If yours doesn't look like a square, then simply just add more rows until it looks like a square. And then once you have this very first part looking like a square, then you're going to times the amount of rows you did by 4. And that is the total you're going to be doing for this very first part. So I'm going to be doing a total of 20 rows. So here I have the 20 rows, as you can see, now completed. And now we are going to be making the little extensions here to cover the sides of the square. So chain 1 and turn your work into the raw edge here on the left side. And we are going to be working the same amount of stitches that we did going across here the very first part. So I have 8 1/2 double crochets. I'm gonna work 8 down into the next 5 rows down, just so that we have the same width as this very first part. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here is going to be the last one that I'm going to be using. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now you're simply going to follow the same steps as before. So chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to 1/2 double crochet all the way up. And then you're going to follow that same step until you have the same amount that you did for the very first square at the beginning. So I'm gonna have here 5 rows in total, following the same steps. So just finished making row 5 here, and this is what it looks like. Now we have the very first little extension. Now you want to leave enough yarn for the sewing we are going to be doing. So I'm just going to calculate going up and down like this 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to cut it. And now we can fasten off. So chain 1 and fasten off. Now we are going to be working this same little extension here on the opposite side. So I'm going to turn my work like this, take a yarn, make a slip knot, and attach your yarn into that very first stitch, the very first one you can find. I'm gonna do with the slip stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1. And this chain 1 is not gonna count as a stitch. And now we have to follow the same steps that we did to make the first extension. So we are going to go down 5 rows and we are going to be making the same amount of stitches as well. So 8 stitches down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have the 8 half double crochets. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and half double crochet down. And then I'm going to follow the same steps until I have 5 rows in total. So here I have the 5 rows for the next extension. Now I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to again leave enough yarn for the sewing. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times, trim, and fasten off. Here is our shape, and this is going to turn into this super cute little box. How adorable is this? So I'm going to quickly measure everything before we move on, if you're wondering the size of this. So this way it's measuring 16 centimeters, and then I made 4 sides here, so each measures 4 centimeters. And then these little extensions, they also measure 4 centimeters. So 4 and 4. The amount of stitches going across, it measures 4.5 centimeters. So it's not that perfect square, the 4 by 4. And then these are also 4.5, and this one as well, 4.5 centimeters. So now we will need cardboard to add structure to this little shape here and make the box, because if we make the box without it, it's going to be very flimsy and it's not going to have the structure that we need. So that's why I'm using cardboard. So go ahead and take the cardboard, place the shape right on top of it, and we are going to be cutting a piece of the cardboard that is the size of this very first section without the extensions. So I know that mine is 4.5 by 16 centimeters, so that is the size that I'm going to be cutting this very first piece. So I'm going to measure 4.5 and then 16 and then 4.5 here at the top. So now we can cut it. And now we have to cut 4 pieces out of this longer piece. So 4, 8, 12, and then 16. And now we cut it. And now we have to cut 2 more of these for the extensions. And I'm simply just gonna trace around the one that I already have cut here. And I'm going to cut 2. So these little pieces, they are exactly the size that we need. But what I like doing, I like to make them slightly smaller. And I simply just cut 1 or 2 millimeters off 2 sides, the longer side and the shorter side. So I simply just eyeball it, like I cut a little bit on the side and the top. And then just make it slightly smaller so it fits perfectly in there, and then we still have a little bit of the stitching around so we can sew it later. So I'm just going to repeat the same to all the others. So now that we have the 6 little squares, we can glue them on. When gluing, you want to start into the longer section. So we're going to be gluing them like this. Make sure that you have enough crochet going around everything so we can sew everything later. And then you're going to be adding the ones here into the extensions. And that's it. So this is how you're going to be gluing it in place. I'm using hot glue, but feel free to use any other glue you want. I'm going to be adding into the cardboard and then on top of the crochet. Isn't this so perfect? And this is going to magically transform into our little box. Look at that. So now let me show you how you're going to be sewing this into the little box. So I prefer doing the sewing of the center first. So I'm going to bring the top with the bottom. So grab it and fold. And here's the very first sewing. So I'm going to be using these two ends that I have here. And then I'm going to be sewing these two together. I'm going to be using my tapestry needle. So bring the two sides together. You're gonna go into the opposite side that you have your end. Find the very first stitch and then sew the two together. And now you're simply just gonna get stitches on both sides and sew them together. So when you get at the end, you're going to find two last stitches here at the end. And then before you finish the sewing, you're gonna go through the loop and make it tight to fasten off. And now with this end, you can simply hide inside the space in between the crochet and the box. We can trim off this end. So now this is what it looks like. We have now to choose one of the sides, close it, and then using this end, we sew all the way around. So what I like doing is moving this end to the bottom here of the extension so that I can use this same end to sew all the way around. I don't go through the stitches, I just go into the little stitch that I want. Just like this. Make sure that I don't make it too tight. And then I just close it. And now I can start sewing. So I'm going to get one stitch on both sides and sew that together. And then I'm gonna repeat the same steps all the way around. When you get into the corners, you're just gonna follow it around. I'm going to follow the same steps as before. I'm going to fasten off, but now this time I'm not going to cut off this yarn or weave in. I'm going to be using this same one to make the little loop so that we can hang this on our tree. You can do the loop into the last sewing, but because I'm already here, I'm gonna do it now. So I'm going to simply just choose a little stitch going around it. And then I'm going to pass, all right, let's do that again. There we go. And then I'm just gonna wrap the yarn around the hook, move it through that stitch. And then now here you can chain as many chains as you wish. I'm gonna do a chain of 30. So here's my chain of 30. Now I'm going to fasten off. Now I'm going to be threading this little end in my tapestry needle and then into the same spot or a little spot very close to the beginning of the chain. You're gonna go through. It's going to kind of stop because it's not gonna go through the stitches because we have the chain here. So just leave the loop nicely in place and then go through the same spot again just to tighten that sewing in place. And now you're going to fasten off. So before you finish the sewing, go through the loop and fasten off. And now you can just hide this end in place. And this is how you're going to be making the little loop. So now you have two options. The first one is simply just to close the other side, and that's it. Now the second option, you are going to be using this little box as an actual gift box and put little things inside. So you simply have to weave in this end and leave the box open. When you add the little gifts inside, you're going to close it and then you're going to add the ribbon around it. And then you have an actual gift box that you can put on your tree. and then just tell people to go and find little gifts on the tree. And I don't think they'll ever find it. But it's an amazing idea, right? This would be the perfect engagement idea for Christmas. Will you marry me? All right, let's go back to the video. So you can choose one of the two options. I'm going to be sewing it closed because I just want to have this as an ornament. So I'm going to now sew the other side close. So here's the little box. Now we have to make the ribbon. I'm gonna do it in green, and you're simply going to be making a chain, and that's it. So I'm going to make a slip knot, and then I'm going to be chaining 130. So here's my chain of 130. Now I'm going to be cutting and fasten off. So just make sure that it's really nice and tight, and then you can just cut a little tail like this. And then do the same to the other side. Make sure that it's really nice and tight and trim it off. And now we can tie the little ribbon and make the bow going around our box. So first you have to choose which side you want to tie the bow. I'm gonna do it right here. So you want to start where you want to tie the bow. Find the center of your ribbon and then place it right on top, and then take it down towards the sides, flip it. Now you're going to cross here at the bottom and make sure that you are on the opposite side like this. Now you're going to take to the right side again, and then here you can tie your bow. I like to just transfer the two ends under the previous one here. So that's what I'm gonna do. It just makes it more secured in place, in my opinion. And now here I'm going to tie the bow. I'm just gonna tighten it a bit. Now we can tie our bow here. If you think that the chain is a little bit too long, you can simply just cut it where you want. And then you're going to find the one that is connected to the chain. As you can see, I just removed the shorter one, and then just make it tight. And then just cut it again. I have two completed, but I want to make another one. So the next one will be in white, because these are the colors of my decor. So feel free to use your favorite colors or your decor colors as well. So yeah, let's put it on the tree. So I want to do one right here, and then maybe the green one here. Oh, that is so cute. I absolutely love it. Oh, wow. I couldn't hold myself, and I made the idea that I was telling you guys about. The surprise gift box ornament. Here I have a little ring. Wink, wink, idea for you. You can put many different little gifts in here. You can put money, you can put chocolates, you can put earrings, necklaces, bracelets, so many different little gifts you can put inside here. And you can gift the little ornaments as well to the person. That would be the cutest little gift, right? What do you think? And I changed, so the red one I put down there. So you can simply just put the little gift inside, close it, and then you can tie the ribbon around it, holding that close. Just do it exactly the same way as the other one, but just make sure that the lid is really nice and closed, and then tie a bow at the top. Look at that, so easy. What a cute idea. I cannot. This is so adorable. Stop, look at it. And this one is gonna go right here. Ta-da! And if you end up making one, don't forget to tag me so I can see your beautiful creation and the colors you have chosen. So if you have enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave your massive thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe here to the channel so you can watch more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!